What is going on, everybody? Spellslinger here. Welcome back to another Master Duel deck profile, and today I'm really excited because we are finally getting around to Penguins, and this is a deck that I wanted to build in the TCG, but unfortunately we can't really play to the fullest potential anymore because Auroradon as well as Verte Anaconda are banned in the TCG, but in Master Duel we can still play them, so I wanted to get a profile on Penguin out before those cards got hit, just so you guys can see how insanely fun this deck is. Honestly, this is the deck, one of the decks that I have had the most fun playing with in Master Duel while I was constructing and building and trying to figure out the best possible scenario for it. So we'll go ahead and get into the profile. I'm going to go over all the cards, go over briefly how they interact with each other within the deck and within the combos, and then we'll get into some replays at the end. So subscribe if you are new, welcome back if you are returning. Let's go ahead and get into this deck profile. So looking at this deck, it kind of looks like it's going everywhere. There's Fusion Destinies, a bunch of hand traps, Deep Sea Divas, they have the Desk Bot, and the one copy of Effect Veiler. All of that will make sense, believe me. So what this deck aims to do, it is Penguin Control combo, I guess you could call it, but what this deck aims to do is using a Deep Sea Diva as a starter, as well as a bunch of the utility Penguin cards to get out your big boss monsters, such as your Dragite, as well as Borreload Savage. But using the Auroradon combo, we can end on 2, 3, 4 negates if we open hand traps as well. We have our Called by the Grave here to insulate ourselves from hand traps, because this deck is very, very susceptible to one well-timed hand trap ending the combo. It doesn't have a ton of bounce back, but it is really fun, and we'll go ahead and just get into it. So we're playing 3 Deep Sea Diva. This is our primary starter to get into our Auroradon combo. It's just, when you normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower sea serpent monster from your deck, and that'll be another copy of itself to go into our singular copy of Crystron Halqifibrax to go into our Auroradon line. So those are 3 there. I guess we'll just jump around to just take out what we know. Our hand trap lineup: 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 3 Infinite Impermanence. Just very standard. We're playing 2 Called by the Grave, like I said, so it's just to facilitate our combos and make sure that they go through. And then the 1 Deskbot 0014, our Auroradon line. We're not playing the Colt Wing because we do not want to get that far into it, and I'll explain that later on. But the 1 Effect Veiler here is for our Selene combo to climb into Access Code Talker. It's kind of just like the backup win condition if our first one falls apart, or if we're going second, that's also an option that we have there. So after that, I guess we'll just hop into our Penguin lineup. We're playing 1 Penguin Soldier. This is something that we can set directly from our deck with the effect of Penguin Brave. We're playing the Creation Resonator as part of the Auroradon lineup, and if you control a level 8 or higher Synchro monster, you can special summon it from your hand just for free, which is really nice. We're playing 2 No Penguin. I've seen a lot of people play this at 1. I personally like it at 2 because if you open it, as well as the Royal Penguin's Garden, you can use the effect of the garden to add a card and then discard the No Penguin to the graveyard, which is what we like to see and where we like to see the No Penguin in general. So we're playing 2 of those. And then with, the No Penguin, it special summons it from the graveyard when a penguin activates its effect, and that is mandatory, so keep that in mind. And then if a card would be returned from the field to the hand by an effect of a penguin card, you can banish it, or it banishes it instead. So with this effect, the effect of the Glacial Beast Polar Penguin, which we often get out going second, if it's special summoned, you can target a monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand, and that plays off of the No Penguin very, very well because it will just banish it on summon. And then if this card is on the field destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a card that your opponent controls, return it to the hand, and again, that works very well with No Penguin. So we're playing 2 of these. We're playing one Nightmare Penguin specifically because it is a level 4, and the attack boost for waters is nice, but it's typically not on the field. But using this as a level 4 specifically allows us to go into Baron the Floor with our lineup from there. The Celestial as well as the Dasher are for our Fusion Destiny package. We're playing 3 the Great Emperor Penguin. This card is absolutely insane. You tribute it and then special summon 2 penguin monsters from your deck, except the Great Emperor Penguin. It's literally just a Rescue Rabbit for the penguin archetype, and you can summon 2 different ones, which is incredible. I think a Rescue Cat would be the better comparison, but Great Emperor Penguin, super good card, and we have a ton of utility that we can use, because if we use the Royal Penguin's Garden, you can add a penguin, and if you already have the next card, the Penguin Squire, then you can go into just your standard penguin combo and end on a negate as well as a bounce with the Penguin Soldier, which is really nice. But Penguin Squire, it's a really good card. It can't be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a water monster, so typically what you're just going to be summoning this summoning Dragite out with it anyway, which is completely fine. And then if a monster is set on your field except during the damage step, you can summon this card from your hand, and then you can reduce its level by 1 or 2. Typically we don't have to worry about that, but you can target one face down defense position monster your opponent or that you control and change it to face up defense position. And if you do, its effects are negated unless it is a penguin monster, which is completely fine. So what I like to do is, with the Royal Penguin Garden, if you open Royal Penguin Garden and either the Great Emperor Penguin or Penguin Squire, you can add the other one, use the secondary effect of the Royal Penguin Garden, of the Royal Penguin's Garden, to decrease the level of a penguin in your hand by 1. So that'll be the Great Emperor Penguin, and then since it will be level 4, you can set the Emperor Penguin, and then that'll trigger the Squire to special summon itself, and then you can use the Squire to flip up the Great Emperor Penguin, and then you can use the effect attribute to keep comboing from there. So just really good synergy with these cards, and you want to see them in your opening hand as often as possible. One Monster Reborn, I didn't realize how cracked Monster Reborn is in this deck until I realized that the Great Emperor Penguin is not a once per turn. So if it's used and you have the Monster Reborn, you can immediately just bring it back and then get 2 more bodies out on the field with Monster Reborn. So that's incredible. So we want to play that as well. 2 Fusion Destiny for the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. 3 Pot of Prosperity. Because we have very few starters, we want to be able to dig for Deep Sea Divas or perhaps our Royal Penguin's Garden and things along those lines. And with this, of course, you banish cards from your extra deck, and then you can't draw cards off of effects for the rest of the turn. So that's also something to keep in mind with a couple of the cards in the extra deck, such as the Ravenous Crocodragon, as well as the Coral Dragon, which both allow you to draw. So just keep that in mind when using Pot of Prosperity, but it is a really good card for this deck. Royal Penguin Garden, I touched on it a little bit, but when it's activated, you can add a penguin, and then once per turn, you can decrease the level of a penguin monster in your hand or on the field by 1 until the end of the turn. Then you have to discard a card, which is completely fine. That's why we play the no penguins. So if we open one, we can just discard it. And then the Call by the Grave and the Infinite Impermanence, I have already slightly touched on, so we'll just move into the extra deck. In the extra deck, we are playing the 1 DPE. Of course, it's really good. The Cupid Pitch is something that we run for the Auroradon line. If you're not familiar with it, I will be going over it in the replays, so stick around for that. We're playing 1 Coral Dragon. It's really good just as a way to get a big body on the field. If you're going second, you can discard a card and then target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. And then if this synchro summoned card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can draw a card. So if you end on Coral Dragon as well as a Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer on your opponent's turn, you can pop the Coral Dragon to draw a card, as well as utilize the effect of the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, which is incredible. So Coral Dragon, just a really good card that you can use off of that. We're running 1 Penguin Brave. We should be running it at 2. I'm just a cheap fuck, and I do not want to spend the UR points on something like that, because I have a ton of more profiles that I want to be creating on my main account, because I want to be using them regularly, and creating a second copy of Penguin Brave isn't something that I want to do. But typically you would run 2 Penguin Brave for recursion and follow-up on your next turn if the first one gets stopped, or if the game gets a little bit grindy, you can make a second one and go into plays from there. But we're just playing the 1. Your opponent can't target face-down defense position monsters you control with card effects, and then you can only use each of the effects once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon a penguin monster from your deck in face-down defense position, and then when your opponent activates a monster effect, this is a quick effect, you can flip 1 face-down defense position water monster you control face up. So Penguin Brave is special summoned. You can set Penguin Soldier directly from your deck, and then on your opponent's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can activate the effect to flip up Penguin Soldier and then just disrupt them by targeting 2 monsters on the field and returning them to the hand, which is really good. So yeah, Penguin Brave is really good. Typically we want to run it at 2. I'm just cheap and I am only running it at 1 here. Borreload Savage Dragon, it's just really good. It's Borreload Savage Dragon. It's really good, and you can end on it pretty easily through the Auroradon lineup, just an Omni Negate. My favorite card in the extra deck is the Dragite. I love Adamantimators, and whenever I'm able to use Dragite in the extra deck of a deck that isn't Adamantipator, I love it just because it is a spell, a trap, negate, and I love the artwork on Dragite. Really good. The Ravenous Crocoddragon Archithis, I think is how you pronounce it. This is a, if you're familiar with Zodiac, it's literally just a Trident by discarding 2 cards. But when it is summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of non-tuners used for its summon. So if you use 2, like you can and typically do, you draw 2 cards, and then you'll be set up for next turn if you're either drawing for, or you can dig further into your deck for Fusion Destiny or hand traps, and by the end of your turn, on your opponent's turn, you'll have a lot of cards in your hand that you'll be able to discard for its effect to target a card on the field and destroy it, which is a quick effect, and you can use that on your opponent's turn. I love using this card and ending on it. Bear on the Floor, again, just really good generic stuff. We run the Nightmare Penguin as a level 4 to facilitate that. You would typically use the Nightmare Penguin as well as the a level 3 tuner and another just level 3 non-tuner to go into it, and we're running that. Same thing with the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying. It is really good, and it has a really cool effect that can trigger if you have like DPE. You can, just stuff like that. And then for each banished card, it gains 100 attack and defense, and monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense. It's a good card. Crystron Hucklefirex for the Auroradon line. Predaplant Verte Anaconda for our Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Nightmare Unicorn was what I chose in place of the second Penguin Brave, simply because I found it hard at times to link climb into Access Code Talker if we don't have specifically Selene or the Mecha Phantom Beast wasn't around the next turn to climb into Access Code Talker. I really wanted the 5300 access code and not just the 4300, so I went ahead and threw in Nightmare Unicorn in there just to facilitate a Link 3 that we can use as material for access code to get him that full amount. Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians, I explained earlier, is the reason why we were running the Effect Veiler, and is just more interruption, allowing us to climb into access code again. And then the Auroradon is just, the Auroradon combo, which I will be showcasing in the replays, and then access code just for finishing things off. So yes, this is the deck. We'll go ahead and jump into some of the replays, showcasing the Auroradon line and really what this deck is capable of doing, and we'll see it in just a second with those replays. All right, so getting into the first of these couple replays that I have for you right here. This first replay is just going to show the Penguin side of things and how you want to maneuver it. So if you open, like I said, in the profile, Royal Penguin's Garden and either Penguin Squire or Great Emperor Penguin, you have this combo and can complete it. So what we're going to do is add the other one, the Great Emperor Penguin, use the effect to decrease the level of the Great Emperor Penguin. We do have to discard for that effect, but we're going to go ahead and be able to set the Great Emperor Penguin, which will trigger the Penguin Squire from our hand to special summon it, and then on the summon, Penguin Squire will be able to flip up the Great Emperor Penguin. Emperor Penguin's effect is going to be able to get us a copy of the Glacial Beast Polar Penguin as well as the No Penguin, and it's very important that you grab both of these for this standard combo, because from here what we're going to do is we're going to go into Penguin Brave, and then Penguin Brave is going to allow us to set, or No Penguin will be chained on that, which is really good for chain blocking as well, so they won't be able to say ash that effect. But the Penguin Brave is going to be able to set us that copy of Penguin Soldier, and from here what we can do, Penguin Squire as well as No Penguin are going to be summoned into Dragite, and from there we can set our Infinite Impermanence and sit on our Ash Blossom. So just on this 2-card combo gets us our Adamantipator Risen Dragite, which is a spell and trap negate, as well as our Penguin Brave and Penguin Soldier, which will allow us to bounce 2 monsters on the field and return those targets to hand, so disrupts their normal summon or link climbing if our opponent wants to do something like that. And then we have hand traps, Infinite Impermanence, and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So that's upwards of 4 5 technically interruptions that just comes from a 2-card combo and is really easy to get done. So that is going to be the standard, just the penguin, the standard penguin lineup that they're going to be doing. So our opponent, this duel doesn't end up going anywhere. They end up, I think, just disconnecting after this. I think, yeah, they set and then just disconnect. But I just wanted to show you this. That is the very standard penguin combo, and we'll go ahead and get into the Auroradon combo now. So we'll see it in just a sec. All right, so this replay, I absolutely love how this replay turned out. It really just showcases what the Auroradon line is capable of and everything like that, and the end board is kind of crazy. So we opened really good. Honestly, if I could change anything about this hand, we did open the Celestial. I would replace that with a copy of like Called by the Grave to insulate our plays and stuff like that, but this hand is really, really good. So we're going to normal summon the Deep Sea Diva, activating the effect, getting out a second copy of the Deep Sea Diva, and then using these to go into a copy of Crystron Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax will activate, getting us out our Deskbot 001, and from there we can go into our copy of Mega Phantom Beast Auroradon. Auroradon will activate, getting us out 3 Mega Phantom Beast tokens, and Deskbot 001 will activate in the graveyard, getting itself out, and from there we can Synchro 4 into a copy of Cupid Pitch, and then on summon, decrease its level, and then we can go 3 and 3 into a copy of Penguin Brave. Penguin Brave will summon, Cupid Pitch will activate, and then we can chain Penguin Brave on top of that, and then resolving that, Penguin Brave will be able to set us a copy of the Great Emperor Penguin, and then Cupid Pitch deals a little bit of burn damage, and we can get our Creation Resonator. And because of the way that the chains worked out, because we already had Penguin Squire in our hand, and this is very, very, very important to keep in mind, is that if we did not have... if we didn't already have the Penguin Squire in our hand, that is what we would have searched off of the Cupid Pitch and not the Creation Resonator. But because we already had the Penguin Squire in our hand, we were able to grab the Creation Resonator and continue comboing from there. But because we already had the Penguin Squire in our hand and the Great Emperor Penguin was set, we're able to special summon the Penguin Squire from our hand, and we can decrease the level by 1 to go into this play right here. Use the effect of the Squire to get out No Penguin as well as Nightmare Penguin, and from here we can synchro the Penguin Squire as well as the Nightmare Penguin to go into the Adamantivator Risen Dragite, and now because we control a level 8 or higher Synchro monster, we can special summon out Crimson Resonator, and from there what we can do is use 3 to go into a Ravenous Crocodile Arch at this, use the effect and to draw 2 cards, and we drew Monster Reborn as well as Fusion Destiny. And remember how I was saying in the deck profile that Monster Reborn is absolutely cracked in this deck, because what we can do is literally just bring back our copy of the Great Emperor Penguin, use the effect, which mandatory effect of No Penguin will trigger, getting us out, getting itself out, so we're only going to be able to get 1 more summon off of this, but that's completely fine. So No Penguin here is going to be able to get us out, we're going to be able to get us out some more Penguin names to go into our copy of Coral Dragon. And we're going to use our copy of Fusion Destiny here to dump and go into our copy of Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Now, something that I ended the turn here, and I didn't set the Infinite Impermanence, and something that I could have done here that I completely spaced on in the moment was I could have activated the effect of the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer to pop the Coral Dragon to give us an additional draw, so I could set this copy of Infinite Impermanence to get us an additional interruption on our opponent's turn. I just did not see that in the moment. I was just very happy with how this board turned out, and it makes me very happy. Lots of serotonin in there. But anyway, so yeah, this board is really, really good. So we have our DPE pop, as well as a Crocodile pop, as well as a Spell and Trap negate, which ended up just being really, really good. And I just, this replay right here really just shows what like the main kind of just what the main combo is, and our opponent was just going to scoop after we chain Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. But yeah, this is the deck. This is Penguin, and I've had such a good time playing Penguin, and I hope that you guys do too. I love this deck, and I have a lot of more cool videos coming out for you very soon. So if you're new, like I said, hit the subscribe button. I have been Spellslinger, and I will see you guys next time with another amazing video. Have a great day.